Welcome to Nickel City Mafia, where we talk all things Buffalo and then some. Today we're going to get into week 2 of training camp, give you a quick recap, and then we'll talk a little bit about that upcoming first preseason game against the Colts. I am Mike Thornton, and joining me today is Mr. Jake Podger. Jake, you had a very special day today. Tell everyone what was going on.
Yeah, it was my daughter's first birthday. Little MVP. We fell asleep today. She was watching some highlights of Bill's practice. So great way to go out. And she had a heck of a day, Mike. Her initials are MVP, which is great.
I think that's awesome.
that was all my doing. My wife wanted the first name, Maxwell. So I'm like, well, we have a P last name, so we got to do a V initial. So Maxwell Violet Podger, boom, baby. There we go. So great day for her. She's ready to go. She's probably dreaming of fullbacks, dreaming of Reggie Gilliam. He just signed a 2-year extension. I mean, let's go. And I'd be remiss if I didn't open one of these. This is a special cheers to her. Labatt, if you want to send us more of these, I would be happy. I just had to restock the fridge, but thank you very much.
That is so awesome. How did she? I mean, there was a big party for her yesterday. How'd she like all this the celebration?
She, you know what? She was a trooper, Mike. She really battled through. I don't know how she stayed up for as long as she did, but I'll tell you what. I mean, she didn't even take an afternoon nap. By the time I actually put her down, I mean, she just rolled right over and passed right out. I mean, that was it.
Wow, that's so cool. I saw the pictures. She's beautiful, man. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well,
she gets it from her mom.
Well, I don't know. I see a little bit of both of you, honestly.
I love it. Hey, what do you think of the setup, by the way? This is a nice alternate setup I got here. You know, you can kind of see the product placement in the back there. There's my Labatt. So no big deal, but
we're gonna have
just trying some things out.
We're gonna have to take a poll and take pictures of all your backdrops and just kind of see which one the subscribers think is the best.
I like it. That'd
be cool. You're still down in the basement, right?
Still in the man cave, just on the other side. So this is the original side I started on. I was up a little bit farther, so you had a different angle. But now I kind of shuffled some things around, and I actually like this better. So, hey, here we are.
Well, listen, Jake, we have a fantastic giveaway from our friends at Auto, spelled O-R-T-O, a great little app that you can download on your Android or your Apple device. It's a free VIN history report app. So if you're looking to buy a used car or if you're in the auto business, you want to check this thing out. I'm going to play a little clip on them right now and give our sponsor a little bit of a shout out right here. So let's go. Stay with us. 25 seconds. We'll be right back and get into the show.
40% of the cars on the road hold a hidden history. With the Auto app, you simply photograph any car, and using our AI license plate recognition technology, you'll instantly have accident, sales, and owner data from multiple sources at your fingertips. If you work in the car industry or are simply buying a used car, use Auto to get the full picture. Search Auto, spelled O-R-T-O, on the App Store.
Yes, and why don't you tell the folks what we're giving away?
Of course. Well, first off, so much buzz around this giveaway right now, Mike. I mean, it's exciting. We got the Facebook people involved now, all the Bills Mafia groups. I mean, we've heard some tremendous stories, people that can't get to the game, never really been to a game,
right.
Not necessarily can't get to this game, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
Basically saying, this is the first time they'll ever have a chance at getting to a game, just talking about favorite players and good memories and all that. And I just want to share a quick story before we get into the giveaway stuff. So first off, I guess I'll tell a little bit. The giveaway is for 2 Bills tickets to the Titans game, the home opener game, and a $100 Visa gift card. So there's that information. Secondly, I wanted to get to this. I wanted to talk about it because it was a great story and it really stuck with me. So we had a cleaning lady actually come because, we wanted the house just to kind of look a little nicer, get into the spots that we really couldn't reach or, didn't really have a lot of time. It's tough with an infant, So she came over to the house and, she was cleaning and everything, did a fantastic job. Shout out to Jamie. That's her name. Fantastic job. Her husband, unfortunately, had passed away just sort of suddenly. And I found this out, I talked to her about the giveaway. I didn't know any of this information prior to it, but she kind of started telling me the story. Her husband used to tailgate with Pinto Ron, who was one of the most famous Bills fans of all time. So we'd go to all the Red Pinto tailgates. She talked about how good of a guy Kenny was and how he donated to the family and everything. And it was just a really, really moving story. And I told her about the giveaway. And, I said, good luck. I hope you win. I hope she joined. And, I'm definitely pulling for her. But that was another really good story that stuck to me. I mean, it was a personal story. I talked to her face to face about it. And it's like, she was telling me how it was such a family thing, how he tried to make football a big part of their family, and he would go to every game. He wouldn't miss one of them. And, I think he was actually in one of the latest promos they had from like a year ago where he was doing a bowling ball shot. That's one of the famous things that they do at the Red Pinto tailgates. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That is a great story. And I got to say, there have been so many good stories interacting with the Facebook Bills Mafia group. I mean, it just made me feel good about having this giveaway, getting somebody here to go to one of these games. And it made me think, you know what, with any of the sponsors that we work with, we need to keep trying to get Bills tickets, because
I love it.
There's so many folks, so many fans that love the Bills and just haven't been able to get to a game at all, period, for whatever reason. So great stuff. Great story there, Jake. And
cool.
There's more. So all you got to do to give them the giveaway, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in any of our shows. For today's show, just going to ask you to tell me how many games you think the Bills are going to win this year. 17 games. Give me a number. That's all you got to do. And if you want more options to get more entries, just put comments on all our shows. Just listen to it for a little bit. We'll tell you what you got to put in the comment section. And then all the details to the actual contest is in the description below. If you click that video, that's another possibility for you to get more entries. Look at the full details and put a comment on that video as well. And you'll have multiple entries in this great contest. And the contest ends at the end of the month. Like I said, very simple. Be 18, be from the United States or Canada, subscribe to the channel, and a comment. That's all. That's all, Jake.
Not bad. Good trade-off, I think.
I think so, too. So let's get into it. Week 2, and sorry, folks, that we're coming to you a little late. Normally, we would have brought this to you yesterday, but I think it was good, and Jake had a big celebration, so, please give us a little leeway there. I mean, first birthday for his daughter, unbelievable. And so let's get into it. So, Jake, week 2, there was a big, I texted you, I thought you might be going to it. So there's a big scrimmage that was held, right? The red versus blue on Friday night. And how long have they been doing that? I feel like it's been a regular thing for a while now.
Yeah, they sort of made it into more of an event. They've been doing it for quite a while. I remember actually back in 2004, I went with my dad. We went to a Bills. It was basically an open practice at the stadium where they all come back. And so I know they've been doing it at least from then on. But now it's been more built up, obviously, with social media and everything like that. I mean, it was popular back then. I mean, you couldn't find a seat at least in the lower deck. I mean, there was no seats available. But I do remember Jason Peters catching a touchdown pass in practice against us. That was when he was a tight end, Mike, which is wild. But anyways, they've been doing it for quite some time. And my dad actually went this year. He invited me to go with him, but unfortunately I couldn't get out there. My wife had a work retreat, so I was just kind of left hanging on that one. But he still went, and he said it was unbelievable. I mean, he said there were so many people, and for however many, it was 40 to 50,000 people to show up to a scrimmage.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's crazy.
That is just unheard of. No other team does that. No other fan base does that. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable. And then, of course, you have Josh Allen, who came out with the red helmet, which I will say this. It was a pretty piss poor red helmet. Like, it was awesome. Don't get me wrong, but it's not even close to what the real thing looked like. And if they were to make that their alternate, if that was the announcement, I would have been a little upset because they kind of did it dirty. It wasn't the real deal, but it was still cool. It was awesome to see him walk out, and, all the fans were going wild. And I saw some behind the scenes stuff of him mic'd up saying these fans are going to absolutely lose it when he walks out of the tunnel, which they did, of course, and blew up all over social media. But man, I mean, it is such a cool experience. I mean, just for these guys to come out and do like a normal practice and like a scrimmage, just happens to be in their home stadium. And then for it to feel like a regular season game, I mean, what the heck, Mike? I mean, the buzz around this team is the real deal. And I mean, it's pretty evident right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know my son Brandon was out there as well on Friday night. So
nice
good stuff. Well, let's start with some injury updates. I see Big Al's out in the channel, and appreciate you, Big Al. And we looks like we have a sideline reporter there, and Big Al. He's saying the O-line at full strength now. All regular guys in now. No pads today. Just a great great day for walkthrough. Some of the injury updates that I have, and Jake, I'll let you go afterwards, is see if you have any additional ones. But so for me, Marcus Stevenson, for most of you probably have heard, he got injured earlier in last week. He's out for a few weeks now, and a foot injury, just a strange foot injury. Apparently, he had made a nice play, caught a nice pass, and then all of a sudden came up limping, sort of like he did last year after his punt return. Just mysterious foot injury. And unfortunately, I think that's going to seal the deal for him. I don't see him making the 53-man roster. I think he'll probably, if he clears waivers, he'll be on the practice squad for sure. Unfortunate, because it seemed like, I told you earlier, Jake, I was hearing a lot of negative things. It sounded like he was starting to have some better and better days.
Yeah.
And here he is now. He's, again, just a mystery. I don't think anyone would sign him, clear waivers, because this is 2 years in a row. He's just had some mysterious foot injury. They haven't really gone too deep on what that injury is, but no one's touching you, and you're coming up limping twice now.
Right. Yeah, it's not a good thing. It kind of reminds me of Sammy Watkins a little bit. He had a bad foot injury, and a lot of people, I don't think people know what the severity of it is, but for him to keep missing time like this, obviously it's an issue, and certainly not helping his chances. And I can't see him being on this roster, unfortunately, just because the best ability is availability, isn't it, Mike?
Yep,
and
exactly.
He just hasn't been available.
Yeah, and then we had reports today, Taron Johnson, Isaiah McKenzie, and Khalil Shakir. They weren't participating. They were just tending to some soreness. And Jordan Poyer, we all heard last week, scary situation, elbow injury, but came away again. Lucky that it wasn't too serious. I mean, any injury is pretty serious, but it's going to keep him out for a few weeks. But we should have him back before game one, which we're going to need. And then, of course, we already know that Micah Hyde's been kind of taking it easy as well. Had a hip injury, another scary situation that happened a couple weeks ago. Yeah. But he's doing better. And again, they're taking their time. These are veterans. They don't need to be out there.
Just keep them both off the field. Let them teach the young guys. That's all we need is another injury. So please, no more of it. And I'm sure body maintenance is a huge thing. I know the staff has it, under wraps. They'll be good. It'll be all right. But it is scary for sure.
Yeah. Because we're going to need those two leaders, especially if we don't have Trey White out there in the secondary to start the year. Yeah. We had Ryan Bates was back. That was good to see. I guess he participated in the Friday night scrimmage and was full practice on Sunday. Spencer Brown kind of was playing. I guess he was doing some full 11-on-11 drills today, but nothing too serious. They're taking it slow with him. And I guess the Bills launched their depth chart today, or announced their depth chart, and he's behind Quessenberry currently. Quessenberry's been getting all those reps, and we still don't know the details about that back surgery that Spencer Brown had. But from someone who's had back surgery, I can only tell you that you don't mess with it. We don't know. I don't know if it was a serious, I don't know. Anything on the back to me is serious. So again,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, especially, the O-line position and a back injury, they just don't mix very well. So I think it's the right move to just kind of ease him in slowly. I don't think there's any chance that he's not the starter week one, but right now they're just sort of easing him back in that thing. So not a big deal in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. He's got to get those reps in. And as long as he can get those reps, you're right. We're still we're about a month away now, right? Is it 30 days? 30
That's
days,
right. Actually, a month. Yeah. A month right now. Wow. Holy smokes, Mike. Wow. A month till you get to see this team live, up front, close and personal, right? Holy cow.
SoFi Stadium. We'll be there.
That's awesome.
So that's good. I mean, because all the reports during the first 2 weeks of camp was that the defense was just dominating. And why wouldn't they? First of all, we expect them to be a very good defense, right? But when you have an offensive line now that has three of your starters on the sideline, I don't know if I mentioned Saffold was back as well. So,
Yep.
Yeah. So getting those three starters back and helping them gel before the season starts, that's huge. But that's the reason why this defense was so dominating. And we expect our defense to be dominating, but hey, that's every report I heard. Oh, another great day for the defense. Oh, another great day. Well, part of that is not because how good they are, but also because of the injuries on offense.
Absolutely.
You have any concerns with those three guys just kind of coming back now with them 30 days out? You think that's enough time to get that cohesiveness going and get those reps in that they're going to need? And
it might take a little bit of time. A new offensive line working together, building together. It takes some time. Like, believe it or not, chemistry is kind of huge on an offensive line. I think we saw that more than ever last season. So it might take a little bit. But do I think we're going to be better than we were last year? Absolutely. I 100% think we got better there. We have a better offensive line coach. Aaron Cromer is one of the best in the business. He's going to have his guys prepared. I like the depth that we have there as well. David Questenberry been playing a little bit of guard as well. Bobby Hart, I heard, is actually doing pretty decent. Cody Ford, I heard, had a great day of practice today. Very aggressive, I guess, playing well in the run game. So that's interesting too. But, I think we'll be okay, Mike. I know there's obviously some concern. You have guys getting these weird off the field injuries and some surgeries you haven't heard about and this, that, and other, but it'll be good. 30 days, we have a month to get ready. I think that's plenty of time. Not worried at all. I know we got to go up against Aaron Donald though. That's no easy task for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I heard good things about Tommy Doyle today as well. He actually had some good reps against AJ Epinesa. The positive side of this is that our depth players are able to get in and get some reps with the first team, right? With that defense.
Yep.
You're probably not going to face much better defenses this year. We were number one last year. I think we're better this year. Will we be number one? I don't know, but we'll be top 3, at least I truly believe, barring any injuries. So to get those guys in there and getting reps against that type of defense is only going to make us that much better. I just do have some concerns with these guys getting enough reps. Saffold's brand new to the system, and Spencer Brown, that one worries me a little bit just because of the type of injury. And let's see, who else was missing there? Oh, getting Bates back was big, so hopefully he can stay healthy as well.
Yeah.
So let's see what else we got going on here. So player notes, I'll let you talk about it. You were very excited about fullback / tight end, Mr. Reggie Gilliam.
Phenomenal. Yes.
Yeah.
That was the best news I got all week outside of my daughter turning 1. Holy smokes, Mike. And it's the day before her birthday. They sign a fullback to an extension. Is there a coincidence? I think not. Just an incredible thing. Call it a coincidence if you will. But, man, there was something out there saying for her birthday, that's all she wants is a Reggie Gilliam extension, and I could not be more happy. A guy that was a walk-on at Toledo, a MAC school, and then to come into the league, sort of be that hybrid tight end, H-back, fullback type guy. He definitely serves a role on the team. He could play special teams. You could throw him a pass every once in a while. He can get up front, be a lead blocker. He can run the ball, do a little bit of everything. He's a good athlete. He is the heart and soul of Buffalo, as Sean McDermott said. So I am super pumped about that. My jersey's in the mail right now, coming from China somewhere. I don't know, but I'm fired up about it.
Yeah, very, very versatile, and 2-year, $5.2 million extension. Fantastic. And when you say fullback, it's more than that, like you said, right? He can play fullback. He can play tight end. He's on special teams. He probably can do. He'd probably be on the line blocking if he had to.
Absolutely. You ever see that? How they do in college recruiting? They just do ATH, meaning athlete.
Yeah,
that's what he is. Except he's a big boy athlete, which I love. It's great.
Yeah, and he has a great attitude about it. It's like, just where do you need me, coach? Where do you need me? So love the signing there. And let's get into some wide receiver updates. So Gabe Davis and Diggs have been looking good. Of course, you'd expect that. Davis, Diggs we expected. Davis, you and I expected. And I think a lot of folks expected to have a big breakout year. And he's just been looking spectacular from all the reports that I hear, as well as Khalil Shakir looking great. But a guy who's interesting that's been getting some talk lately is Isaiah Hodgins. And talk to me about what your thoughts are on Isaiah Hodgins. And
he came in. Yeah, it is really good to hear. I'm happy for the guy because he really hasn't had the chance to prove himself because he's always been injured. And he was bringing a lot of buzz to the team early on when we drafted him late. I thought he was a steal for us. He has some NFL blood already. His dad's a fullback. I say it every show, Mike. James Hodgins, former Super Bowl player with the Rams. He played with the Cardinals a little bit. Isaiah Hodgins is a really good football player, a guy that really hasn't had an opportunity to shine, and now he finally is, and some eyes are starting to open up a little bit. And I think he serves a good purpose because he's a bigger guy. We don't have a ton of bigger receivers on the team. He's 6'4". He can go outside. He can get up over defenders. He's tremendous, and I think he's showing a little bit of that at camp. So it is interesting now because it kind of opens up the competition a little bit more. I don't feel great about our outside receivers because I think the majority of our guys are inside guys. So I feel great. I should preface that. I feel great about Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, but who's that other outside guy for depth? And I don't know really who that is, but Isaiah Hodgins makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. And I know we We have Jake Kumaro, by the way, caught a great pass in stride today. That throw by Josh Allen, I don't know if you saw a clip of that.
I did see it.
Tremendous. But I don't know if he's that guy. I think he can do it, but Isaiah Hodgins, certainly an interesting name there. I think he's bigger. Well, he's not bigger. He's a little bit faster, and he's an outside guy. He's not bigger than Jake Kumaro is what I meant, but he's definitely faster. So it definitely is intriguing to me, and I'm excited for him. I think he's got a great opportunity here, so we'll see what he does in the preseason.
Yeah, and with Marcus Stevenson out, and we already kind of taken him off that active roster, so there's a spot.
Yeah.
There's a spot that they're going to be fighting for. So good stuff there. And let's see here on the slot receiver battle, right? So initially, Crowder was on the sideline. He was tending to some injuries, a little slowed, wasn't getting on the field, and Isaiah McKenzie just came in and just took off, right? He was kind of like most people, I won't say everyone, you were already penciling in or inking in Crowder as the day one starter. Well, when Crowder wasn't able to participate in the first week of camp, McKenzie's stock shot right up, right? He was in there making plays every day, no matter what show you listened to. He was impressing people. And he kind of leapfrogged Crowder for that number one spot, in my opinion. I've always thought he could potentially be that day one guy in the slot, but he kind of took advantage of that. Well, the last few days, now he's been off on the sideline, tending to some soreness. And so Crowder's been in there getting a little more play. So Crowder's now got the opportunity to say, hey, I'm here. I want that spot. And I know you're a fan of Crowder. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about that development? Do you still feel Crowder's your guy? And especially now that he can get in there a few days without McKenzie, what's your thoughts?
I almost feel like we're going to be very similar to how we rotated our defensive line in last year. I think we're going to have select packages where Isaiah McKenzie's the guy and select that have Jamison Crowder as the guy, and maybe some that have both of them on the field at the same time. So it's not a bad thing to have that competition there. I think having both of them is just it's almost unfair. You have two really, really good slot guys, and Isaiah McKenzie's here to show that he's not just a return guy. He could play a receiver position, and I mean, he's shown it during camp. He's done a fantastic job, but now that he's taken some time off, we finally get to see what Jamison Crowder can do. He's been there. He's done that. He's played in the slot pretty much his entire career, and he's really he's showing why he's the veteran that he is and why he's such a good football player. So, yeah, I mean, it's fun to have two guys like that, Mike. I still think he is my day one guy, but it is interesting. You look at the depth chart for week one that they came out with, they have Isaiah McKenzie as the guy. So maybe it will be him. I don't know. Maybe they're just doing that just because of the week one preseason game. He's been getting more reps. He's kind of earned it, quote unquote. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting.
I think that's exactly it. I think he's been getting the most reps, got that starting role on the depth chart. Same reason Quessenberry, right, was over
exactly.
Spencer Brown. I was going to bring this up later, but since we're talking about receivers, let's talk about it. Big Al.
Here we go. I love it. I'm glad he brought it up.
A lot of chatter on social media. I saw Von Miller. Was it Von Miller on Twitter? Finally responded. So what's your thoughts here? What's going on?
I'll take him, but I'd rather us go and sign Joe Hayden, a corner, first over a receiver. I think a few more concerns at the cornerback position than I do at receiver. So, I mean, if we can afford him and we can somehow sign him to the team for like a veteran minimum contract, I'm all for it. I mean, the guy's not going to play until playoff time anyway, most likely because he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I mean, it's certainly exciting. I love the buzz around it. It's cool. You see a superstar player, a former superstar player that wants to come here and play again. I mean, it's just a really cool thing. It seems to be a trend now. Everyone wants to come and play in Buffalo with Josh Allen. So, yeah, I mean, that would be awesome to have him. But do we need him first over other guys? Absolutely not. I think Joe Hayden is a very logical player to sign if we're going to sign anyone right now. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a cool thing to talk about, but I'm not. I wouldn't want him over other guys right now, per se.
Yeah, because he's coming off that ACL now. He's saying there's reports that saying he was playing with that before the Super Bowl. So who knows?
That's
he's just kind of promote that. Hey, I've been recovering longer than the Super Bowl, but
he wants to get signed.
He would, yeah, exactly. And the fact that he potentially wouldn't be available to October, some reports saying November, concerns me a little bit, and I don't think his role by that time there'll be so much chemistry developed with Josh Allen, with the other
Exactly.
wide receivers. He'd have to know his role. I mean, his role would be, he'd get some time. Obviously, he's OBJ, but and then what's the cost of that? What do you think
Right.
he's getting? You think he's getting minimum? I don't know if he's going to take minimum.
It's definitely not going to be a minimum contract. I
Yeah.
think he's going to want at least $4 to $5 million. I'm guessing. I don't know.
So that's a lot of money for someone who's a big question mark. And then also, there've been a lot of talk and concerns about chemistry with his team, right? Is he cause issues and all that? So I don't know. If the price was right, of course, like you said earlier, I am concerned about our depth on the outside, right? If Gabe or Diggs go down, sure, one of those slot guys could go out there potentially.
Right.
You got Jay Kumaro potentially, but it would be nice to have a veteran. But again, it have to be the price. The price would have to be right. And I believe there's some other receivers that are out there as well. I think, and I know this is another guy who has injury issues. I think Will Fuller's out there. There's a couple other vets out there. Probably get a lot cheaper than Beckham.
I would agree with that. And another thing I wanted to bring up too, if we were to sign Odell Beckham, what type of message does that send to your team? I mean, if you're a guy on this roster, obviously you're bringing in more competition, but at the same time, I mean, these guys have busted their balls together for a few weeks now in training camp. I mean, this guy's just going to walk in. He's not going to even really practice. I mean, he's going to do some walkthrough stuff, and some other guy who's been busting his nuts is in jeopardy of being cut. I just don't like the message that really sends. And I mean, it is a business. It's a cutthroat business. Don't get me wrong. But I just think for team morale and other stuff like that, I just don't really agree with the move. I mean, I get the cornerback thing. I get signing Joe Hayden. I think he's ready to go. But Odell Beckham's a different situation. So I think corner is definitely a more pressing need.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I don't see that happen personally. I don't see Beckham joining this team.
Yeah.
But I do see us going out, because it is concerning me more and more based on the reports that I'm hearing, is the cornerback situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know. You talked about the Jake Kumaro throw today, that nice, beautiful pass by Allen. 32.
Yeah.
I couldn't find. Who was wearing 32 right now?
Is that Tim Harris, or is that our new guy? I want to say it might be our new guy, Jordan Miller.
Okay. I'm not sure. It wasn't updated on the site that I went to, but I'm sure it's out there.
It is Jordan Miller. It was Jordan Miller.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Tim Harris is actually wearing 29. My fault. Jordan Miller.
I don't think
He's interesting. He's been in the league for 2 years. He's bounced around practice squads. I think he could make an impact. I mean, I know he got burned on that play, obviously, but I mean, that's a beautiful throw by Josh. So yeah, that's interesting that we signed him. But yeah, go on, Mike. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no worries. I was just wondering who that person was, because I was like, he's getting beat by our sixth stringer on the deep ball.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned there, but the concerns is that Elam and Dane Jackson have struggled, which I get it.
Right.
Elam's going against, he's every day in camp, he's going against Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, two very talented receivers, and you want him going against that talent. But they seem to be, every time I listen to one of the shows that have that are privileged to be there watching it, I mean, him and Dane Jackson, every time I see a video clip, they're getting burned, right? They're having struggles, which concerns me. Now, I think a little bit of that will be eased when we know for sure that we have Micah Hyde back there and Jordan Poyer. Those guys, they're captains of your defense, right? They're going to be telling these young guys where they need to be. They're going to be talking to them on a constant basis. That's going to help tremendously. So that eases my concern a little bit. But I think I talked to you in the last show, or one of our shows, like, it'd be great to get a veteran corner. And
Absolutely.
like you said, Joe Hayden, what are we waiting for? If he's out there, unless he's just asking for, so much money that it doesn't make sense. But
right. I can't see that, though. Not for a veteran guy like that. Yeah, I don't know.
And it feels like, who's it? Some of the Bills have been trying to help with that, right? I don't know who's been involved in that.
Yeah, Von Miller's been playing golf with them, and a bunch of guys have been lobbying for him. So I'm not really sure what they're waiting on. Maybe there's something underlying that we don't know about. I mean, the background checks. That's one thing I will say, Mike. The background checks that these teams do on these players is absolutely insane. And if you get the quirky guy that is part of the organization that maybe sees something that he doesn't like, as in terms of like the scouting department or a GM or whoever it may be, that player's not going to get signed. So it could be something as stupid as like what he has for breakfast in the morning. If they don't like what they see there, they might not sign the guy. This is how it happens. Like within the draft process, it's amazing. I talked to a guy who's a scout with the Bears, and they follow this guy around like all day, and they just see what he does, see who he interacts with, see how he, addresses people. Good morning, hello, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir. It's insane how in depth they go. So I can only imagine what they do with free agents too. I'm pretty sure it's probably somewhat similar, I would think. Yeah. And it's also interesting to just hear about like, former players that talk about interviewing with different teams and, I was going to sign with them or I was going to get drafted by them, but they just passed on me or they drafted someone else. So maybe there's something going on there. I don't know. I'm not really sure what it is, but I would love to have him on paper. I mean, the guy's tremendous. He's been a good player in the league for years, and he's only 2 years removed from a Pro Bowl season. So I'm not really sure what they're waiting for. Maybe they just don't want to spend the money. I have heard a lot of good things about Christian Benford, and yes. I like his versatility that he brings to the team. Leslie Frazier says he's been fantastic. So maybe they see something there too.
Yeah, I had that as a bullet point as well. Christian Benford getting some good talk as well recently. Yeah, and that's great. We need all the experience. We need to get all these guys, all that depth, getting reps against one of the best offenses in the league. I mean, that is one good thing, right? These guys are getting experience against the best of the best.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I do, and I trust Bean. Look, I know if Bean or McDermott feel that we need a vet, I know they'll go and get it, right? I have no doubt that they will. They are a much better evaluator of talent than I am, than I'll ever be. So they're, if they're not reaching out and getting someone, they have to be comfortable with what they see on the field. And it's weird with these practices and these training camps because they're not going all out. Some of these younger guys are because they're trying to prove a point, but that defense and that O-line, they're just trying, there's a fine balance between staying injury-free and getting enough reps in to get ready for the games. But we'll see. Again, I trust Bean fully. If he feels he needs to go get a vet, he will. And Joe Hayden would be a good one. I've seen Xavier Rhodes is out there too. I mean, there's a couple vets out there that they could go get.
Yeah, so, and did you sidebar? Did you happen to see what Cole Beasley said on Twitter?
So I saw it in passing. Was getting close to getting ready for the show. I saw something like he's happy with all the fans. Thank you for the fans, but something changed within the organization, and he's glad he left.
Yeah, so that's interesting to me. I don't know what he's alluding to there, but I mean, I can't not trust in Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott right now. And I just thought of that because you were talking about how they can evaluate talent and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting that Cole kind of came out and said that. Maybe it was just one final dig. Probably didn't like how they parted ways. I know he had the whole vaccine issue and a lot of stuff like that too. So I'm sure all of that had a lot of play within, how his attitude was sort of shaped around the organization. So who knows? I wish him nothing but the best. He was awesome for us. And I know he loves the fans here. So, man, we'll see what happens. I know the Bears. I think the Bears were interested in Cole, and I've heard a lot of teams have expressed interest, but he still hasn't been signed. So curious to see what happens there.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, someone's gonna need him.
Yeah,
there's going to be somebody's going to go down with injury, and why wouldn't you? He had a great run with us, and those hands. He just had such good hands, and if you needed something, a catch, you could always rely on this guy. Absolutely, 100%. So
one of the meanest pivot routes I've ever seen in my life outside of Hunter Renfro's. I mean, it was just a thing of beauty. So yeah, I do hope he gets picked up by someone.
Let's see. Anything else you have on the receivers that we didn't already talk about? Again, with Stevenson out now and probably not going to make the roster, it opens up another slot for some folks. We talked about Hodgkins already. Anything else on the wide receivers that we didn't talk about already?
I would say the outliers. I'm curious to see if Neil Powell or Neil Pau, it's a tough name to pronounce, Tanner Gentry, a couple of those other guys that are like not even talked about at all. I'm curious to see if they even have a shot at the practice squad this year. I know this is probably one of the tougher years to make the team as a receiver. But I think if you offer that outside depth, you have a shot. So that's where Jake Kumaro and Isaiah Hodgins, like we were talking about, really have a chance.
Yeah.
And Jake Kumaro is going to stay. They just re-upped them, so he's absolutely
Yeah.
going to be on the team.
Yeah, there's no way. So Kumaro, if you had to make a choice, who would clear waivers? Would Kumaro? No. Kumaro would be snagged in a heartbeat. Hodgkins probably would, right? Possibly.
There's a chance. I think injury history is the
chance.
biggest.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
So I'm sorry, I went back to receivers, but we were talking about them a little bit. We were on corners, and I haven't heard much about my guy, Elijah. So he's not getting much talk. Maybe that's a good thing. I've said that in a show before. Hey, if you're doing a great job when you're out on the field and you're not intercepting a ball, but they're not throwing your way, maybe that's a good thing. We're not there to see it. I wish I had more access. I wish they actually televise some of these training camps, right? I mean, they're open to the public. Let's put them on TV, pay-per-view.
Like if I could get to every practice, I would. I would be there with my cell phone, just filming everything.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't send it to other teams. I wouldn't use it as like blackmail or anything like that. I would just use it for my own enjoyment. I mean, I just love the hell out of watching stuff like this. I mean, watching these guys every day go out and practice. I mean, it's just a joy. It's honestly a privilege to go and watch these guys participate. I know I'm putting everyone on a pedestal, but man, just being around the game my entire life, it's just an awesome thing. I mean, it is. There's a reason why these guys are professionals. There's a reason why we're in the stands. They're out there on the field. It's just a really cool thing. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, nothing really on Elijah Griffin. Nick McLeod was another guy that I had a lot of high hopes for coming into the preseason here, and I've heard Cam Lewis looks pretty decent too. So I'm hoping he's been with the team the last few seasons and he's had a shot. He's gotten a little bit of playing time here and there, more so on the special team side of it. But it's very interesting to see what's going on with the cornerback position.
Yeah. Check this out on the channel here. We got Keeper coming in. I love it too. You guys need a running game. I'm a Dolphins fan. You guys about ready to get smoked this year by us.
Well, this is a great segue. We're going to talk about running backs a little bit, Mike. So
exactly.
Why don't we talk about James Cook a touch here?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jake.
I'll
let you start with the running back room this year.
Absolutely. So if you guys have a chance, first off, check out our fantasy football show. There was a guy, Chris and Rick, they do a great show together. And they were talking about different guys that are, going to be good running backs this year to draft. And they talked about James Cook a little bit. And I think James Cook is going to be a 500 guy personally, 500 rushing yards, 500 receiving yards. I mean, he has looked tremendous in camp. I mean, you can split him out wide at receiver. You could play him in the slot. You could play him in the backfield. You could run him outside zone. There's a lot of things we could do with him. And I know he has looked unbelievable from what I've been hearing. And I think he's down 10 pounds. He's reminded me a little bit of a guy, Dexter McCluster. I don't know if you remember him, Mike. Just a smaller guy, but shifty, could kind of play all over the field. Came in as a running back, but shifted out as a receiver and played all over the place. So even as a return man. And I saw James Cook was even on the depth chart as a third-string return guy. So, yeah, I'll tell you what. He is definitely creating a buzz. He's exciting. I've heard good things about Devin Singletary, too, just kind of doing his thing. And then Zach Moss listed at number 2 on the depth chart right now. I think this is more of a seniority type play. They want to see what he has left in him, obviously, and see how he fits with this new offensive line. And I do think that there is a spot for him. We talked about this earlier on, Mike, in the offseason. I think up front, especially in the interior, we got better. And that's sort of where Zach Moss shines, right? He's the short yardage goal line guy. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. James Cook. No, I don't think he's super injury prone. I know he had a couple of
he's talking more about his brother, I think, mostly.
Yeah. So Delvin Cook definitely is. But James Cook early on at Georgia, I think he did. But he was a rotational guy. They had a bunch of running backs there, which I'm actually okay with. I love that. Less mileage on the guy. So I think that plays to our advantage.
Yeah, I think, and remember, Delvin Cook took a beating in college, right? And whereas James Cook, like you said, was rotated quite often. So he comes in fresher. But I can see gatekeepers a little talk there. Our running game definitely struggled at times last year, but we've made a lot of improvements on the offensive line, which I'm sure you guys are hoping you did as well, because you're going to need to protect Tua to have any chance against us. But we do like your team. My best friend is a huge Dolphins fan, but I understand what you're saying there. But talk to him a little bit about that O-line. We didn't really talk about the O-line too much, but talk to him about the improvements we've done and why we think we're going to have a much better running game if we need it.
Of course, yeah. It starts with the interior, I think. I mean, Roger Saffold, one of the best run blocking guards in football. Taylor Lewan has said it multiple times. He was teammates with him in Tennessee. Guy was an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler last year. I know he's banged up. He had the rib injury that happened in a car accident, which is an off-the-field injury, which is kind of, you always worry about that stuff, but I think he'll be good to go. You got Ryan Bates, who towards the end of the season, we finally found our offensive line. We found our core guys that really communicated well. The chemistry was there. They blocked well, able to get upfield, tough, athletic guys. And Ryan Bates was one of those guys. He's able to play kind of all over the offensive line. He was a backup center. He played guard. He could even play a little bit of tackle if he needs to. So I like him at the right guard position. Center, Mitch Morse, one of the best centers in the league right now. I mean, he can get up to the next level. I mean, he is just fantastic, and he really showed a lot towards the end of the year because I think a lot of people were sort of questioning why we gave him such a big contract to begin with, but he showed why, and he is definitely one of the best in the league. Dion Dawkins at left tackle, love him there, and then Spencer Brown, obviously, you know, a little bit of injury concern with his back surgery, but I think he'll be good to go week one. So you put those guys together, you include the guys that we signed as depth, as added depth, David Questenberry, Greg Van Roten, Greg Mance, another guy from the Dolphins that we signed who is a nice center guard combo type player. I really like what we did there. And then obviously we got Aaron Cromer leading the pack as the O-line coach, another Dolphins guy for you there, a gatekeeper. But yeah, pretty exciting up front. I love what we did up there. I think we're tough, we're athletic, and we're going to definitely show that we have a running game this year.
Yeah, and to finish up the conversation on the running back room, you know, we had talked about this in one of our earlier shows, Duke Johnson, and I had said, I don't think Duke makes this roster. I think Duke was signed not knowing that we were going to get James Cook. We got James Cook, and I said he's kind of an older version of James Cook. Why would I not want the younger, fresher, what is it, the younger guy? Who's the other? Moss. Yeah, Moss.
Zach Moss, yeah.
So
hey, you're forgetting a very special guy that I like, Raheem Blackshear, who I think.
I know you're the one who called his name, but
yes.
Zach Moss is signed for 2 years, right? We got him through this year and next year. Not very expensive. Learned something. You know, we were all disappointed with his performance last year, but we learned that he had an injury. He had screws in his ankle throughout the whole season, right? Which we didn't really hear about. I just heard about that recently. So he's looking better. He's looking fresher. And he brings that bigger back, that short yardage type guy. So I think, again, I know there was big expectations last year. Learning the news that I heard about that ankle injury and screws in there, that impacted it greatly. I'm 100% sure. But then the gatekeeper coming back and say, but the truth, guys, are you guys concerned about the Dolphins this year with Tua being healthy and looking good in camp? Absolutely. I mean, if you want to look back, I don't know, a few weeks ago when Troy and I did the show, I think you're going to overtake the Patriots as for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And definitely we said you'll be the biggest threat in the AFC East to the Bills. So, yes, we do see the talent there. And you guys went on a great run last year, almost made the playoffs once again, just fell short one game. So, absolutely.
Got a good one in Mike McDaniel, too. I really like him a lot. I think that offense, he's got a lot of weapons to play with. The running back position, which you brought up, I mean, you got three guys. You got Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, and then Myles Gaskin. I mean, that is just fantastic. So you got a lot of toys to play with there. You got some speed at the receiver position and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And, man, I mean, it's Mike Gesicki at tight end. I mean, one of the most athletic tight ends in the league. So certainly. And the offensive line's gotten better in Miami, too. So shout out to you guys for doing that, making some improvements on paper. I think the defense is pretty solid, too. I have the Dolphins actually going 10-7 this year. So, yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens there. But
who they bring over from? They brought over the O-line guy from New Orleans,
Kieran Armstead. Yep.
Yeah, so that was a nice
really,
add.
Really good tackle.
The big questions for me is their offensive line, is those young rookies they've drafted. They have a couple of high draft choices over the past few years, and I think it's especially the guy at the right tackle is a second year, third year. I think he was a first rounder a couple of years back. He's gonna need to step up his game because if Tua looks good, gatekeeper, but if you can't protect the guy, he's gonna take a beating. We saw what happened to him last year early on when Epinesa just kind of blew up that offensive line, and the defense for the Bills is only gonna be better with Von Miller there. So yeah, a lot of good things.
By the way, you're talking about Austin Jackson, the kid out of USC.
Yeah.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit in his first couple of years, but I think he's gotten better as time has gone on here. I think he's in the right spot at right tackle, which is good. They brought in a guy on the left side that can really play and obviously make a huge impact in Terron Armstead. But it'll be an exciting year, I think.
Yeah, because for Tua, that's his blind spot, right? So he's going to need that guy to step up.
Very good point. Yeah.
So anyhow, I back to the running backs. We'll finish that up real quick. Still don't think Duke Johnson makes this squad because of what we said. I know you think he still will.
No, actually, Mike, I think I've changed my mind a little bit, especially with seeing how good James Cook has performed in training camp and heading into the preseason here. I think he's going to be one of those guys that obviously ends up getting cut. One of the last cuts, I think, for sure, because he's adding some veteran depth right now for the time being, and I think he can help mentor these younger backs, which is a good thing, especially for James Cook to learn from him. I mean, this is a guy that he caught 70, 80 passes in a season one year, and he can certainly be a great impact for him. So the leadership, at the very least, is important right now, I think.
Yeah, and he ran the ball well for Miami last year.
He did, yeah. He was actually featured more as a running back than a receiver for the first time in his career, which is
crazy.
Yeah.
So if there's not a spot for him here, he's definitely going to be snagged by somebody. Absolutely, 100%. Yep. All right, Jake, let's get into the final. We got two more things here. Let's talk about the punter battle. One of your favorite subjects. Talk to me.
I have a Matt Araiza jersey in the mail, and I am a little concerned right now because Matt Hawk seems to have a little bit of an edge on him. Now, I've heard that he's had his ups and downs, Matt Araiza. He's punted really well some days. Other days, he couldn't figure out his hang time, and he was just booting the ball 80 yards like line drives. So I don't know. And the problem with him is that he's not really experienced with holding. And I know it's such a simple task, a lot of people think, but man, I mean, it's an important thing. You got to laces out, Mike. Laces out every time, right? And that's actually one of the reasons why we brought Matt Hawk in originally, is because he was such a good holder. And the guy he's a really good athlete. You could run some special fake punt passes with him. You could do some fake field goal passes. I know he threw a touchdown in Miami. So yeah, I little concerned for my guy. I know when you draft a punter, you expect them to make the team because that's sort of a wasted draft spot, quote unquote. But yeah, he's certainly struggled a bit here and there, but I think he's getting better. He's trending upward a little bit. I've heard some good things about him recently. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed because that was my guy, Mike. That was my guy. I got to vouch for him. I got to stick with him. I got my jersey in the mail for him as well. So my two guys, Reggie Gilliam and Matt Araiza, I mean, they're going to both be on the team come this fall.
Well, before I talk about him, I want to say, Gatekeeper, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you join us when we, join us every week if you like, and especially during those the Dolphin matchups. They're going to be fun. Absolutely, 100%. Jake, I'm hearing a little different. I'm hearing it's still Araiza. I'm hearing still his to lose. He's been doing fine. And the big talk is that every time he's been asked to hold, perfect, no problem. No problem whatsoever with holding. And that's one of the big things people have been talking about. That's one thing I
will say. I haven't heard a negative thing about his holding so far, which is good. Yeah. But his punting has been very up and down, especially at the start of camp, and then it got better, and then it got worse. So it's just a little bit of back and forth there, from what I've been hearing at least. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think you're still fine. I wouldn't sweat it quite yet.
Thank God. Wasted $20. You know what? I mean, at the same time, I mean, what guy doesn't want to have a?
He's called the
jersey?
punt god for a reason.
Yeah,
Jay. I mean, to beat out a guy like that. I mean, like I said, he has to be struggling with holding the ball, which he hasn't. Everyone's was so concerned about that. I was like, this guy has been working with someone on holding. If you're a college player expecting to get into the NFL and you're a punter, what else are you going to be asked to do? Hold the ball. So he's been working on that.
Absolutely.
On that. So
of course,
I'm not so concerned about it. And when we have those 50-mile-an-hour winds in Highmark Stadium, and we're backed up at our 15-yard line, I think he's going to pull out some special things.
84 yards, pin them at the 1, baby. I love it.
All right, real quick here. Let's wrap up with. So we got our first preseason game. I can't believe we're already about to get on the field and play preseason football.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. So talk to me. We play the Colts on Saturday. What's your expectations? What are you looking for? What starters, if any, do you see playing in this game?
So I've always been one to not take the Sean McVay approach where no starters play. I don't like that approach at all. I think you got to get those guys in, even just for a series or two. Just one series is more than enough, especially for Josh Allen. I mean, we don't want him out on the field longer than he needs to be. He's already proven himself. But I think it is good for chemistry, getting used to the flow of the game again, getting acquainted with your newer guys. You know, OJ Howard, we got a couple new weapons on offense. So I do think that's important. And there's nothing like an actual game situation. It's so different than practice. I mean, obviously you're going full speed in practice at times, but a lot of times you're kind of just 3/4 speed and, you know, you're not allowed to get hit, and taking that first hit of the season is always a tough thing too. So I would like to see at least a series from the starters and then maybe sort of taper off after that. I think the offensive line is going to be important. We have a couple guys that are injured right now. Spencer Brown, he might not even play the first preseason game of the year. A couple other guys, Roger Saffold, he might not play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as many starters as possible that can play that are healthy right now is a good thing. So like I said, only 1 or 2 series I think is important, just to get those guys, you know, get their feet wet a little bit, you know, get used to their new teams if they signed with us recently. But after that, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's going to be all second and third stringers.
Yeah.
And I think that's the approach. That's what it sounds like the approach is going to be from Sean McDermott, at least from what I've heard.
Okay. Yeah. I think those guys that you just mentioned on the O-line, Saffold, I don't think he sees the field. He's just coming back. He hasn't had much reps at all. I think we know Spencer Brown's not going to be there. Ryan Bates, maybe. He could be because he was in the Friday scrimmage, so I could see him out there. And on the defensive line, you know, obviously the vets, maybe Von Miller. I don't see Von Miller playing. I don't know if he's going to play any preseason, honestly. But I think most others should be out there, most especially our young guys.
Yeah.
For sure. Some of the vets, maybe not. Maybe not.
So the biggest difference, too, is now there's only 3 games. So
yeah.
In past years, when there were 4 preseason games, I could totally understand why maybe you don't have a guy play at all during the entire preseason or, you know, during the first couple of games or whatever. Usually it's like that third preseason game. So back when it was 4, it was that third preseason game that the starters played like an entire half. Now that's sort of been shifted down to the second preseason game, and then that third preseason game, none of the starters play. So I think the first one will play a little bit with the starters, but then probably out of the game for, you know, they'll be done for the rest of the game. Second preseason, we're going to see those starters for probably a half. And then the third preseason game, it'll be all backups.
Gotcha. Interesting. All right. So what do you anything special you're looking for in that first preseason game?
Just getting back to football, Mike. It's going to be the buzz in the city is going to be great. I have thoughts of even going. You know, at first I thought I was going to have a golf tournament that day, so I didn't know if I'd be able to make it or not. So I don't know. It's definitely tempting. It's a home game, which is exciting. And man, football's back. I was just reading a thing from Adam Schefter. This upcoming weekend starts the first weekend through February that there will always be either an NFL or a college football game on. So, I mean, hearing that just gave me chills. I mean, could it get any better? I don't think so. My poor wife, she says it's stepdaddy season now because typically, you know, during football season, she doesn't get as much attention. I said, no need. I'm going to make it more of a family thing. And she said, absolutely not. She just can't get into it, which I think is insane. But hey, that's her. And she loves me for who I am.
So big news for us. Not only are we going to the Rams-Bills home opener, but we got tickets to training camp tomorrow to go see the Rams. We're going to do a little scouting report. I'm going to send that to One Bills Drive.
Yes.
And my wife works right there on the campus where it's the last day of training camp. And
she's right at UC Irvine.
Yeah, that's where she works.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
She commutes there. She usually works at home most of the time, but every now and then she has to go to the office, and it worked out. She has to go in the office tomorrow, so we're going to go with her. She got tickets for us. We're going to go check it out, take a lot of, video and send it to One Bills Drive.
Oh, that's fantastic. This is going to be like Deflategate 2.0, except or Spygate, not Deflategate, Spygate.
Yeah. So we're excited about that. Jonah's just a fan of football. He's already like, man, I want to get Aaron Donald autograph and Cooper Kupp, and I'm like,
that would be awesome.
I said, don't get too excited. We don't want those, we don't want those Maybe after week 1, I'll let you know how I feel about that.
Fair enough. Speaking of autographs, I think I need to address this situation. And for those of you that are listening, I know
I
there's
think I know
not
what
a
you're gonna
zillion
say.
of you or anything like that, but I see some fans throwing stuff at these players as they're walking back into the tunnel or whatever. And it's like, man, have an ounce of class in your system. You can't be doing that. I mean, listen, it's all good that you're a diehard fan, but for you to be throwing your stuff at these guys, I mean, they're human beings. Like, come on, you got to cut them a break here. I mean, they're doing their thing. They're out there. They're sweating. They're putting on a show for you. You had the privilege of going to watch them. I mean, come on now. You shouldn't be throwing stuff at these players, especially our $250 million quarterback. And I'm glad Josh sort of turned around and said something to that kid. Because you shouldn't be doing stuff like that, you know?
I saw that, and then I saw a bunch of them throwing at Diggs as well. And
yep. And he would sign stuff and they just drop it.
He signs them. How are they going to get those back? They're never going to get those back.
Right.
So, I mean, crazy.
There's a way of doing it, and then there's a way of not doing it, and that is not how you do it right there.
I will say this, what I did like about the Rams camp, well, at least my wife was informed that they're only signing autographs for kids. So
that's nice.
They put that right out there. They have actually a section after camp's over, you can go get some autographs. They got some, you're not going to have to stand behind a gate as the players cross and try to get their autographs. They're going to have some tents set up where they're going to be sitting. Yeah, you can approach them and get some autographs. So we'll see. I don't know how busy it is. I don't know if it, obviously they're the Super Bowl champs. I would expect there probably be more people than in years past. But it is the last day of camp. We'll see. It is a Tuesday. People do have to work. So we'll see if it's super crowded. But I'll have some good information and hopefully
I'm curious.
I'm going to come up with a game plan to shut down Cooper.
Nice.
And then block Aaron Donald. So
how do you do that, Mike? I actually don't know. I mean, you just double them all game, but then it opens up for Allen Robinson or Tyler Higbee or one of their other guys. I don't. It's going to be tricky.
We played them a few years ago. We beat them there in Buffalo, and we did a pretty good job on them. They did a decent job in the Super Bowl on him. Of course, he made the big play at the end, but it'll be fun. So, yeah, a little interesting stuff here. Getting some inside information on the opposing team, so it should be fun.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So that just about does it for us, Jake. I mean, we do have our golf show kicking off, and they start at 7:00 in 30 minutes. So you'll see Rick and Tony. They had a pretty good week. I mean, in DraftKings, I don't play a lot of DraftKings, but I'll put in $30-$40, and I put in 37 and won 220 this week. So I'll take that every day. I didn't bet. I played DraftKings lineups.
Oh, okay.
So
nice,
they not only do they help you with your lineups, but they do talk about their bets. I don't do the betting thing. It's
awesome.
Not for me, but I do play DraftKings and I love it. Golf is fun for DraftKings because you get potentially 4 days of entertainment value, right? Thursday through Sunday. And you have that little bit of a sweat on Friday, and it's good value for the money. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Whereas football, it's typically over on
that day. Yeah.
Over that day, right?
Yep.
So interesting stuff. Any closing thoughts, Jake?
No, closing thoughts are we'll be wrapping it up post game maybe on Sunday from what we're talking about. So pretty excited for our first post game show of the year. That'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah. So once again, happy birthday to MVP. Your little one there. And remember about the giveaway, 2 tickets and $100 Visa gift card to Monday Night Football, Titans versus the Bills. Come on, are you kidding me? It doesn't get any better.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
All you got to do is subscribe, leave a comment on all the shows, and go back and watch the original video. It's in the description because you're going to get all the details. It's about a 4.5 minute video. Come on, that's worth your time for a possible entry into this giveaway. And then you put comments there, you get more entries. So comment on all our shows up until the 28th. We're going to announce the winner. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. And I hope you get to meet him because I know you'll be there, Jake. I'm really hoping you guys can connect. We can take some pictures and get to know that
would be fun.
That went to the game. So
absolutely.
Anyhow, thanks everyone who joined us on the channel. Big Al, it's always great to see you. Gatekeeper, hope we see you again. Totally respect you. And your team's going to be fun this year. And everyone else, take care. We'll see you soon.
All right. Go Bills.
Go Bills.